All right. We have our feature. Diane Sahms Guarnieri. She's selling her books in the back, The Handheld Mirror of the Mind. I love the title. She didn't want me to read her bio because she says it's War and Peace. But she's a native of Philadelphia, graduate of East Stroudsburg University, performing postgraduate work at Community College in Philadelphia and Holy Family University towards secondary education, teaching certification in English. She has taught high school in English and currently employed as a purchasing agent. She's purchasing English because we're losing it quickly as a language. My gosh, yes, quite prolific. She has also 3 full-length poetry collections, Images of Being, which is Stone Garden publication, 2011, Light's Battered Edge, and a Foro Literary Press, 2015, Night's Sweet Sweat, Red Dashboard Press, 2016. Her poems have appeared in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Pennsylvania Literary Journal, Many Mountains, Moving, Blue Heron Review, Jonah Magazine, the A3 Review, 34th Parallel Magazine, Canary and the Ibis Head Review, among others. I don't want to embarrass her anymore, and I will hold on to her wishes. This woman is a real deal. Robert and I and a few of us had the privilege, in spite of the coffee grinding, to have experienced her eloquence and genius. It gives me great pleasure. Diane Sahms Guarnieri.
It's so great to be here this evening. Thank you for coming to hear my poetry. I'm always very blessed when people come to listen to me, so thank you very much for coming this evening. I'd like to start with a poem that's a villanelle, and it's for my father. There's an epigraph by Kenzaburo Owe, and I quote, "The dead can survive as part of the lives of those that still live." And the title is, "As long as a heart is beating, someone is always alive." As long as a heart is beating, someone is always alive. Though I want to believe in resurrection, Father, does your heart still beat inside of mine? Words you delivered to me a decade after you died. And although there may be truth in soul's transmigration, as long as a heart is beating, someone is always alive. Words you were telling me as if you had safely arrived. Death, not death, but a continuum, a thin veiled partition. Father, does your heart still beat inside of mine? Yes, it was there inside a small space within dream's eye, where I looked up and you spoke illumination. As long as a heart is beating, someone is always alive. Embracing, I sang, "He's alive, he's alive, he's alive," in waltzing harmony. Yet, questioning, Father, does your heart still beat inside of mine? Through doubting clouds shone shafts of slanted light, love's pulsation in peaceful synchronization. As long as a heart is beating, someone is always alive. Father, your heart still beats inside of mine. So that was a real dream that I had about my father. And the whole dream is I was at a litter box, changing a litter box in the kitchen, and he appeared in the dream. And I was so happy to see him. It was a closure dream. And we did dance. We danced to our dining room and into our living room. And there was light streaming through the windows. And he did say those words to me. So hence the poem. The next poem is about November's howling wind. So you had someone waking you in the night in your poem. I have the wind waking me. The way my house is positioned, if there's a high wind, I hear howling during the night. So it would often wake me, and I wrote a poem. It's entitled, Detached from the Body of Wind. Detached from the body of wind, November's high howling, a mind gone mad, a rabbit wolf under full bulb of moon's black light, one paper cut-out star stuck in the stained inkwell of night's empty jar. Twisted, cacophonous choirs of fallen angels, whistling weepingly, hauntingly daunted, as if the voices of hell were freed. Insidious gargoyles, tenacious lips tediously hum, mind-numbing, mad and melancholy. Asylum escapees, crazy wellings. Insanity of this pitch cannot be cured. These off-key, bone-chilling disharmonies, these breathtaking noises battering the backs of barren trees, beat branches against leafless canopies, like lost women thrashing their rugs. This equates to nothing calming or logical, bothersome as a shutter banging on banging, an abandoned barn door slamming on slamming, a hollowed out tin can sweepingly tumbling, winter's branches swarming the air like broomsticks falling. Haunted as graveyards, wraps awning, speeds through cracks, rattles windows, plays on and on for as long as it can, wakes the sleeping into unsleeping, slides its dead horsehair bow quickly, repeatedly, as Appalachian's fiddling fingers can fiddle high-pitched vibrations, stretch strings between wailing night's hand and chin. So in Philadelphia, where I live, I'm a native Philadelphian, there's the Delaware River, which divides Pennsylvania from New Jersey, and many times G and I will sit there and geekishly read poetry to each other. So that kind of inspired these two poetic geeks from the city to have me write this poem. So I dedicate this reading to my boyfriend, and the title is The Way in Which Something is Woven. Beneath river's reptilian skin lies a green heart beating into high tides rising, August synchronously stirring soft bathing breezes through everything, like this willow's silver and emerald crystals beautifully braided into long, slender strands, soft as well as tambo broom, gliding across dull swords of clashing grass. River, breeze, willow, sky, earth unified. We sit unfolded, your blue lotus voice, petal by petal, harmoniously opens, leans inwardly, touches. As you read poetry, syllables slide into flowing words, stream stanzas, a measured meter, accentuated beats tap the breeze. You, a medium, channeling breath, resurrect dead poets from their very own deaths, as if you were mediating gospel. Their spirits greet us at river's edge, at horizon's line, this a holy seance. Time spinning its spidery web, captivating as if dead and living poets dependent upon each other, vessels in the quintessence of pure existence. Now leaving as driftwood, life's natural flow unbroken. Sun's eye never sleeps, Earth's constant rotation, axial tilt, turning kaleidoscopic colors merge into and out of each other, sunsets and sunrises, pull strings of clouds, light neon indigo, pure violet, and in westerly and easterly looms psychedelics spill over horizon's paint can rim, splash a Pollock painting across skies stepped around canvas. The outed light, all things disappearing as if never here, like stars camouflaged by blue and white damask sky, only to reappear as pinprick diamonds mined out of night's cave, luminous studs riveted through black velvet. Each echoing night sings, uniting all voices, locusts, cicadas, crickets, owls, and bats' echolocation. Moonlight's drenching rays spread across the river's black taffeta, weaving its ribbon way as two journeyers journey, and in the end, ocean's whitecaps cresting manes of wild bushes running, flashing into a finely crafted, intricate white lacy tapestry along universal shorelines, a natural pattern made from cross-connecting waves. Thank you. I actually wrote that in a syllabic weave. In other words, the first two stanzas have 8 syllables, 6, 6, and then the next two stanzas have 6 syllables and 8, 8. All the way through, it's a weave, because I wanted form to follow function, so I created my own weave. It ends with 2 couplets, so yeah, it was fun. I don't know how I thought of that, but I did, late one night. So many times I write dream poetry, character poetry, childhood poetry, love poetry, but I rather like writing character poetry. I write about people I know and people I don't know. So these 2 women I never knew personally, but I did observe them at a nursing home that I would go to when I visited my aunt. And I observed them for a while. And this is a poem that I dedicate to them. I don't know their last names, but their first names were Loretta and Pauline. So for Loretta and Pauline. I step into silver pool of looking glass thought, inner reflection, like walking safely through a waterfall to another place. And once on the other side, turn and look, confirming Wordsworth's claim, life is circular. You end where you once had begun, childlike. Here at Cathedral Village, each one struggles to get well, to return home. Mine's clear as summer's blue sky, with some cloudlets of forgetfulness. Appetites diminish like picky toddlers. Each one wears an oversized bib. Their children or closest relatives worry for their safety, don't want them to return to aloneness of their own ticking clocks, yet they don't want them residing with them. And I wonder where connection is. Why the missing link? The hours drag slowly here. Minutes crawl webbed cracked walls. Shadows circle like wind-up mobiles just above cribbed beds. Loretta, then Pauline, beautifully aged women seated in name-tagged wheelchairs roll themselves like babies in walkers, feet paddling down a stream-quiet hallway, entering back into the aging womb of another day. Time's unmerciful one-way current leads them onward toward an awaiting waterfall, not too far off in the distance, just beyond dark, bleak curtains. of their banished rooms. So, G and I have been observing birds in my urban garden. We've been hanging all kinds of feeders and getting all kinds of birds, which is a big deal for city folk. So, a couple winters ago, I saw these little black birds with white breasts, and I didn't know that they were juncos, and I was so excited. And there was snow in the garden, and so I wrote this for my juncos. Dark-eyed juncos. They come unannounced, 8 to a dozen, bursting white breasts out of black feathers, these whirlwinds of winter, as if they were wearing long-tailed tuxedos. They are marvelous. They are wondrous. From every angled direction, infiltrating my small city yard. First time I have ever seen these migratory Canadians, and believe they carry the light within them, under radiant white shields that they wear on dazzled breasts, like joy of some sort. They have made winter new somehow, even magical, like today, under dull dome of bleak light, pale and gray, thick as an elephant's hide. The way their cotton candy-colored beaks take turns pecking and unpecking a Christmas cake thrown out to them this morning. Baton branches of dogwood swaying in musical wind where they eat. Some drop dive from cliff of air onto a snow-covered lawn, soft as a trampoline. Several hurdle a 5-foot fence, then swoop low. From a top garage, others hang glide, and with ease of a trapeze artist, one sits within wiry diamond of cyclone fence. Then one and another, as miniature magicians, seem to make themselves disappear, breasts camouflaged as snowy branches, far enough away in morning light's mixture. Flurries and snow dust swirl, sparkling silvery ash twirl into ghostly dance. It's as though their poppy seed eyes of black globes hold the whole of creation in their small, steady stare. Entertaining as live theater, I watched this unfold and refold itself for nearly 2 hours, mine filming through lenses of my eyes as your eyes move across this page, as if you were watching a scene now frozen into the window pane of this page. So how am I doing with time? Okay. So my next poem is about my ex, and it's entitled Moonlight Sonata after Beethoven. I'm just going to take a sip.
Your ex?
I wish Beethoven was my ex. I'd have to time travel, right? But Moonlight Sonata after Beethoven. Musically, full moon's torch reflects red light cape across eclipse keyboard. Magnificently and hauntingly, your late bipolar father played our finale, Moonlight Sonata, perfectly, as a bull charging through a crowded concert hall at lightning pace, crashing and thrashing, louds and softs, diminuendos and crescendos, retards and accelerandos. Yet, in cleaning Beethoven's wild hair bust, perched atop the Steinway as long as you could remember, I accidentally melted plaster facial features forming a puddle of white speckled despair, as if pieces of moon soil fell as frozen snowflakes through metronomic fingers, and then your bull-eyed anger erased me like the new moon. So I have two more. This one I've never read before, so I hope it's a good debut here. It's called Everyone Has Their Own Hallelujah. Mine, my ancestors, known and unknown. Their presence sweeps a gentle breeze stirring through night, wakes me when most of the world asleep, when light is drained from sky, dark veil worn over face of day. But this is not for mourning their hobbling loss, rather a celebration. What little I know of them, their lives, it's not terribly important to actually have known all of them. In fact, it's virtually impossible. I only knew a few, and some for only a breath of time. Whispers in a canyon with a stream running through it. Yet I carry their song inside my body, inside rhapsody of thoughts. Is it strange to say that they are me and I an extension of their DNA sown seed of me, which they once carried inside scrotum, inside ovaries, until connection, my incubation in mother's womb, where I grew under roofed heartbeats steady as the kept beat of this early hour, clock's hands now resting each on the other at 2:10 a.m. Warm flow of spirits lifting light, the connective tissue blends as warm petals soft glow, thin amber filling rooms hive. Their low circling buzz floats through electrified air, dark wings of night, meditative as prayer, outside my window stretched in flight, like outstretched wings of a needle-tattooed dove dyed into skin, branded on my back as the religious icon I carried, not as a cross, but a flight to remind me from which tribe I came. In unison with light and night and the ticking heartbeat of time, to them I sing this easy truth. Silently and reverently lift the veil of gentle remembrance, conception of their presence this night under a third-quartered moon, a simple yet thankful hallelujah. Witness to neither birth nor death, just a continuum. I carry them as they have carried me. Again, hallelujah, amen. Thank you very much. And I'd like to end with the title poem of my book, which is for sale. And the title of my book is The Handheld Mirror of the Mind. And this is the poem that accompanies that title. I make two references, and I'm sure you're familiar with Dolly's The Persistence of Memory. But so this is in my poem. It has a little bit of a strange place correlation. And then Masacio's The Expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. I'm Eve in the poem, shamefully hiding my body. But anyway, here we go. It's my end. And once again, before I read my last poem, I would like to thank you for being a good audience, for clapping, and for giving me good energy. It always helps when you have good energy. At least it does me. So thank you very much. Thank you. The Handheld Mirror of the Mind. Does destiny throw us off the back of the horse every now and then into the devil's ditch of mind's misfortune, to have us appreciate from where we have journeyed so far away from. Again I entered deepest center, slid, tumbled, spiraled, fell through forgotten levels of trap doors, not because I wanted to return to this cold, dank cinema, shelved archives replaying scenes on every crowded screen, everywhere inside me that I looked, everywhere inside me that I looked, everywhere inside me that I looked. Who, what, which catapult released this triggering, ejecting me from my present coping to have landed me back there where I could not turn off looping film projectors of the past, of once lived garish days among terror and wreckage of remembering what should have been forgotten. It had become an alien place I hated, an underworld, dark still waters of hopelessness, where mask and clothes removed, I am naked Eve, in Masaccio's La Cacciata dei Progenitori dalle Aiden. Truth of our wedded sinfulness, ugly, grieved me so, and no one can ever know the depths of despair I had had to live. Everywhere inside me that I looked, everywhere inside me that I looked, everywhere inside me that I looked, haunted house memory, cobweb past, broken brain floorboards quietly squeaking their madness, barefooted steps backward, the wound down clocks spilling onto the pavements, hanging from the dead tree of gloom and misery, as in Dali's La Persistencia de la Memoria. But here is where I landed. All the dead pieces struck. A tolling bell resonates, and so much roadkill spinning inside a swiftly moving fatalistic force. At this intersection, red light of chance where I can do nothing but idle in mind's oil spill sickening, smothering darkness filling the only breathable air. Everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look, heavy rains beating death chant regrets, hollowed out tin can past dragging its rattling behind the marital hearse. Fate's hand holding the sight levels all meadows, wildflower moments of joy and beauty, all the what could have beens vanished. Here in mind's alleyway, behind avenues of the joy parade, garbage pails, aluminum lid fills with cold autumn rain, green mold sinking in stagnant defeat, yellow line mountainous roadways paralyzing as depression, cold frozen frown of a corpse that once wore my face. Everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look, memories live on, buried inside, out of sight, where tears will not bring relief to hope's drought. The empty spaces between wind's fluted ribcage, heart's gothic organ pumping haunted melodies, circulating the music of failure to every red blood cell in his grief-stricken body. Alien once again from a faraway planet, I must fly away from here where the present tags the past in a hurtful way, shows the dimly lit avenue of failure, like Scrooge's ghost of Christmas past, who holds up the handheld mirror at mind's window. And in waking from this nightmarish vision, I am knowing the deck sometimes stacked against you, the dice sometimes misrolled, the stars sometimes out of their alignment. Yet, in returning to the present, I know I have closed the door on this haunted room lined with cracked mirrors, and once again I survived the past Everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look, everywhere inside me that I look.